The UFC lightweight division is arguably one of, if not the most competitive division in the UFC. It's also one of the toughest divisions to climb into the top 5 if you are a young prospect. One of the most consistently referenced issues with the current state of affairs in the lightweight division at the moment is the bottlenecking occurring within the top 5. Former interim champs like Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje make it incredibly difficult for prospects to get a look in because they are constantly getting Ws after losing in title fights and putting themselves back into title contention. The issue with this is that the fans feel like prospects aren't getting an opportunity to fight top guys like this. And this is made more clear when you realize that Gaethje hasn't fought an opponent aged under 30 in over 5 years, and the last opponent Dustin fought under 30 in the last 5 years is Max Holloway. Whether you are for or against opening the division up more for the prospects, the aim of this video is to take a deep dive at who has the best chances of being the lightweight champion by the end of 2023. If you feel like I've left someone off this list who could be deserving, let me know in the comments. Islam Makhachev. Let's start with the most obvious candidate, the current champion at 155 at the time of recording. Islam Makhachev is the prodigy heir to the throne of the undefeated former lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov. He most recently finished the former champ Charles Oliveira at UFC 280 in October of 2022 in a one-sided matchup that saw Makhachev drop Oliveira on the feet and cut through his guard and sub him surprisingly quickly with a head and arm choke. This was slightly shocking to see given how dominant Charles Oliveira had been, going on an 11-fight win streak wherein he captured the title and defended it once, but really twice. Picking Islam Makhachev to be champion at the end of 2023 is likely the safest bet. Although with this upcoming matchup with the next fighter on the list, you never quite know. Alexander Volkanovski. 145-pound champion Alexander Volkanovski will step up to face Islam Makhachev at UFC 284 this weekend to see if he can capture the lightweight belt and achieve double champ status. He has been unstoppable in the featherweight division. He is on a 12-fight win streak in the UFC that saw him take scalps of huge names like Max Holloway 3 times, Brian Ortega, the Korean Zombie, and Jose Aldo. Volkanovski hasn't lost a fight since 2013, and the fight was at welterweight against a guy who looked twice his size. Going off his record, you would think that if winning the lightweight belt is what Volkanovski has his sights set on, it's something that he will achieve at some point. The question of whether he can match the dominant wrestling of Islam and whether he wants to hang around at lightweight after the fight or go back to featherweight to defend his belt will determine his chances of being the 155-pound champ when 2023 is said and done. Charles Oliveira. After being written off as a bit of a journeyman who tends to quit when things get tough, Charles Oliveira really turned a corner in his career after the Paul Felder loss in 2017 and began storming through the lightweight division. He went on an 11-fight win streak, captured the title by overcoming adversity to KO Michael Chandler, defended it by choking out both Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje, and setting and extending the record for most finishes and most submissions in the organization. To see him achieve such huge success and then watch him beaten seemingly quite easily against Islam Makhachev was frankly quite shocking. He was head and arm choked in the second round of his fight with Islam, in a fight where he never really looked threatening. Charles' chances of recapturing the title in 2023 seemingly depend less on his skill set or the improvements he can make in his game, but more with who will be the champion throughout 2023. If Islam retains the belt this weekend and continues to dominate contenders, it feels unlikely that Charles will be able to pull the rabbit out of the hat against him, at least this year. Then again, if Charles does reinvent himself again, he certainly has the tools to get the W and get the better of most of the top-ranked contenders. Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier has come so close to achieving his dreams of being the undisputed UFC lightweight champion, only to have them dashed by an opponent that you would argue couldn't really be beaten on their best day. Dustin has been rear naked choked in both of his undisputed title fights, first against Khabib in 2019, then again by Charles Oliveira in 2021. Outside of title fights, Dustin Poirier hasn't lost a fight since 2016 and has left some huge names in his wake like Justin Gaethje, Dan Hooker, Max Holloway, and Conor McGregor twice. Whilst he doesn't seem to get up and perform on the big stage when it counts, Dustin is a perennial contender and with another win or two could see himself back in line for another title shot. If he does capture the belt this year, he will likely be staring down the barrel at the man who choked him out in the last title fight in Oliveira or the protege of the man who choked him out in Islam Makhachev. Whilst it's unlikely that the doors close on 2023 with Dustin as champion, The third time could be the charm. And for some honourable mentions, whilst it feels like one of the aforementioned fighters will likely hold the belt at the end of the year, there are a few fighters lingering on the outskirts or knocking on the door that could certainly slingshot themselves into the big seat before the year is out. Firstly, Beneil Dariush is looking like a complete fighter at the moment, who is brimming with confidence riding an 8-fight win streak. His fight with Islam Makhachev fell through recently, and whilst he seems to be hit with bad luck when it comes to fights with title fight implications, he is completely capable of hanging with the top fighters in the division and has the well-rounded skill set to hold off any contender. Justin Gaethje also deserves a mention, with his insane pressure fighting and huge power. However, much like Dustin Poirier, Justin has had his shot twice and was subbed both times by Khabib and Charles. He also has to get through Rafael Fiziev to put his name back into contention, which is a tall order. Speaking of, Fiziev is certainly worth mentioning as well, as he rides high off a 6-fight win streak against tough opponents like Rafael dos Anjos, Bobby Green, and Renato Moicano. Whilst all these fighters have a puncher's chance of gaining the 155-pound belt throughout this year, my money sits on Islam Makhachev retaining the title throughout the year and seeing off at least 1 or 2 more contenders before the year is out. However, if Volkanovski defies the odds and gets it done this weekend, which as an Australian I'm actually hoping he does, all bets are off, as judging how the rest of the year pans out with him having to defend both the 145-pound belt and the 155-pound belt is quite difficult. I hope you enjoyed this list. If there's anyone you think I missed off the list, or you have a point to make about any of these contenders, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching Undisputed MMA. Please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, as it really helps me grow the channel and dedicate more time to improving the content. Also be sure to hit the notification bell to keep up to date with the latest in MMA and the UFC.